Right, so we're diving deep today into The Strength in Our Scars, which is written by Bianca Sparacino.
Hmm.
Now, this deep dive, I think, is going to be great for anyone who has, I don't know, kind of felt that sting of heartbreak,
Yeah.
or maybe questioned their own strength. Or if you just love a good dose of introspection, this one's for you.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be unpacking some pretty heavy stuff about
Yeah.
life, love, healing, really the things that make us human, right?
Definitely.
So lucky for us, we have an expert here to help us navigate Sparacino's world.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Now, this book, it doesn't waste any time getting real.
Oh, no.
It opens with this line: "I am a firm believer in there being beauty in the contrast. You have not lived until you have died."
Yeah.
Okay, I'll admit that stopped me in my tracks a bit when I first read that.
Hmm.
What do you think Sparacino was getting at with this?
It's interesting. It's a powerful way to start, isn't it?
It is.
She's not shying away from like the heavy stuff at all.
No.
I think what she's saying is that life's beauty, it's not about avoiding the hard parts. Like
Right.
it's more about embracing kind of the full spectrum of experience,
Wow.
the light and the dark,
Yeah.
the joy and the sorrow, all of it.
So it's almost like those scars that we carry, like those experiences that maybe felt like dying in a way.
Yeah.
They actually become part of what makes us beautiful.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like you ever heard of kintsugi?
Kintsugi, I don't think so.
So it's this Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold.
Oh, interesting.
So the cracks, they actually become part of the object's beauty, like a testament to its resilience.
Oh, okay.
So like Sparacino seems to be saying, that our scars, our imperfections, they don't diminish us, they make us unique, they tell our story.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so she also says the world is going to give you beauty, but it will also give you pain. I mean, that almost sounds like a warning, right? How do we reconcile that with this idea of finding strength in our scars?
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much a warning as it is just a recognition of reality.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like life inevitably throws curveballs, heartbreak, loss, disappointment. I mean, these are all just part of being human.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that Sparacino, she isn't saying we should like avoid or deny the pain,
Right.
but she's actually encouraging us to see it as an opportunity.
An opportunity. That's a pretty radical way to look at pain, right?
It is, and it requires like a real shift in thinking. Like instead of resisting pain, what if we leaned into it?
Yeah.
What if we saw it as a catalyst for growth, for transformation? Like, think about it. It's often the difficult experiences that teach us the most about ourselves,
Okay.
about resilience, about what really matters.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense intellectually, but emotionally, it can feel really overwhelming when you're like in it.
Oh, absolutely.
So how do you actually like pick yourself up and rebuild?
Right.
It's like she uses this metaphor about splaying the pieces across the kitchen floor to illustrate that process.
Hmm.
What does she mean by that?
Well, I think it's a powerful image,
Yeah.
and it speaks to the like rawness and the messiness of healing. Like she's not saying that we should sweep the pain under the rug
Yeah.
or pretend it didn't happen. Like it's about acknowledging the hurt, laying it all out, and examining the pieces.
So it's like being really honest with ourselves about what happened, what we've lost.
Exactly.
Okay.
What's really crucial here is that Sparacino, she emphasizes the power of choice. Like we can choose to stay stuck in the pain,
Yeah.
or we can choose to rebuild.
Okay.
It's about taking ownership of the healing process and deciding how we want to piece ourselves back together.
Yeah, I'm starting to see how these ideas all connect now. Like it's about accepting the contrast, the light and the dark, and understand that even those experiences that feel like dying can ultimately lead to growth and transformation.
Definitely. Yeah.
Now, something that really struck me was Sparacino's dismissal of superficial beauty.
Oh, yeah.
She says, I am not impressed by beauty anymore. If you have the ability to inspire me,
Yeah.
well, that makes you magic.
Yeah.
What do you think she means by magic in this context?
I think she's really championing a deeper kind of connection here.
Okay.
One that goes beyond just, surface level attraction.
Mm-hmm.
She's talking about intellectual and emotional stimulation, about finding someone who like engages with your mind,
Right.
who challenges you to grow, who shares your passions and values.
So it's about finding someone who sparks something within you,
Yeah.
who makes you think differently, who helps you see the world in new ways.
Exactly. It's that feeling of being like truly seen and understood,
Yeah.
of having your soul ignited by another person.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the kind of magic that Sparacino's talking about, I think.
That makes sense. But what about when we're still hung up on someone who wasn't magic? You know, those relationships that maybe weren't so good for us, but we still feel tethered to them.
Mm-hmm.
Sparacino talks about how goodbye isn't really final, how the scent of someone lingers, how they reappear in unexpected places.
Yeah.
So how do we reconcile those feelings with the need to move on?
Well, I think it's a powerful observation, and it resonates with a lot of us, I think.
Yeah.
Sparacino's acknowledging that you can't simply unlove someone.
Right.
Like the memories, the feelings, that imprint they left on your life, I mean, they don't vanish overnight,
Right.
do they?
No. So it's like we carry those pieces of the past with us
Yeah.
even as we try to move forward.
Yeah. And moving on, it isn't about erasing the past.
Okay.
Like it's about accepting that the relationship has run its course and allowing ourselves to grieve the loss
Hmm.
and gradually creating space for new experiences and connections.
So it's a process, not a switch we can just flip.
Exactly. And it's often a messy, nonlinear process.
Yeah.
There will be good days and bad days, moments of nostalgia and moments of anger.
Right.
But it's in allowing ourselves to feel those things without judgment that we can begin to heal.
I see. Okay.
And it's a process, It's about learning to live with those pieces of the past and how to integrate them into who we're becoming. It's like, those kintsugi pieces we were talking about earlier. Like, the cracks actually become part of the story, part of the beauty.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's such a helpful way to think about it. I've always struggled with this idea that, moving on means forgetting,
Yeah.
It sounds like it's more about making peace with the past and carrying those lessons forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that actually kind of leads to another point that really resonated with me. Sparacino talks about how, and this is a tough one, how the people who hurt us the most have often been hurt themselves.
Right.
And it's a tough truth, but it's something that she explores in depth throughout the book.
It is tough. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's honestly, it's hard to have empathy for someone who's hurt you.
Hmm.
So why do you think this cycle of pain happens? And more importantly, like, how do we break free from it?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it speaks to the fact that we all bring our own baggage,
Yeah.
our own wounds into our relationships.
Right.
And sometimes those wounds, they manifest in ways that end up hurting other people.
Yeah.
It's not about excusing harmful behavior,
Right.
but it is about recognizing that often the people who inflict pain are acting out of their own unresolved trauma.
Okay, so it's like they're reacting from a place of hurt rather than intentionally trying to cause pain.
Yeah, often that's the case. It's not always a conscious choice. Like, they might not even realize they're perpetuating this cycle.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So that's where the idea of breaking free comes in.
Exactly. And it starts with self-awareness,
Okay.
you know,
For both ourselves.
both for ourselves and the people that we're in relationships with.
So what does that self-awareness look like in practice?
It's about recognizing our own patterns of behavior,
Mm-hmm.
understanding how our past might be influencing our present, and making conscious choices to create healthier dynamics.
Yeah, yeah.
It's also about having compassion for ourselves, and for other people.
Right.
Like, understanding that healing is a journey,
Mm-hmm.
and we're all at different stages along the way.
So it's about recognizing that we're all works in progress
Yeah.
and kind of extending that grace to ourselves and others as we navigate these messy, complicated parts of life.
Totally. And you know what? That kind of ties back to something else Sparacino emphasizes, which is the importance of self-love.
Right.
She says you are the only person who gets to decide if you are happy or not.
That sounds so simple,
It does.
but it's so profound, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, we have so much more power than we realize.
We do, but reclaiming that power requires us to confront kind of the negative beliefs that hold us back,
Mm-hmm.
the self-doubt,
Right.
the fear of not being good enough, all those voices in our head that tell us we don't deserve happiness.
Yeah, yeah. It's like she's challenging us to silence those voices and
Yeah.
and to just choose self-acceptance.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And she describes it in this beautiful way. She says, The moment you truly start to believe that you are deserving of happiness, of love, of something bigger than what you have been settling for, your heart weeps a little, as if it is the first time in years it has been able to lay down its arms,
Yeah.
as if it is the first time in years it has been able to rest. Like, that imagery is just so powerful.
It is. It speaks to the weight that we carry when we don't believe in ourselves,
Right,
when we
right.
settle for less than we deserve.
Yeah.
You know, Sparacino she's inviting us to lay down those burdens, to embrace our worthiness, and to start living from a place of self-love.
Okay, so how do we cultivate that kind of like unwavering self-belief? Because honestly, it can feel so elusive, especially after we've been through some stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I think it starts with becoming aware of the negative self-talk. You know, those
Yeah.
limiting beliefs that keep us small. And then it's about challenging those beliefs and replacing them with empowering affirmations, with evidence of our own strength and resilience.
So it's like we need to become our own best friend,
Oh,
our own cheerleader.
exactly. And it's about, surrounding ourselves with people who believe in us,
Yeah,
who uplift us, who remind us of our own brilliance.
right. You know, one of the things that really struck me in the book is how Sparacino tackles like the issue of heartbreak,
Mm-hmm.
specifically the pain of having someone like walk away from us.
Yeah.
She has this incredibly insightful perspective, and I'm just going to read it here.
Okay.
They didn't leave you because they didn't love you. They left because they never learned that they could be better than their past.
Uh-huh.
They left you because they couldn't convince themselves that they wouldn't turn into their parents, that they wouldn't wake up one day and want to flee.
Yeah.
I mean, that really shifts the narrative, doesn't it?
It does. It challenges the common belief that if someone leaves, it means that we weren't good enough.
Right. Yeah.
You know? Sparacino suggesting that sometimes people leave not because of anything we did or didn't do,
Okay.
but because of their own internal struggles.
So it's more about their own journey, their own baggage, than it is about us.
Exactly.
Uh.
And that can be a tough pill to swallow,
Yeah.
but it's an important truth to recognize.
Right.
You know, it allows us to release some of the blame that we might place on ourselves and really just focus on our own healing.
That's such a crucial point because it's so easy to get caught up in those what ifs and the why me.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Sparacino's perspective helps us like shift that focus inward.
It does. It allows us to reclaim our power, to
Right.
understand that we can't control other people's choices or actions. Like,
Yeah.
all we can control is how we respond to those situations, how we
Yeah.
choose to heal and move forward.
Yeah. You know, one of the most powerful messages in the book for me is this idea of being soft,
Mm-hmm.
even when, the world has been harsh. And Sparacino reminds us that you are 70% water. You have it within you to be soft.
Yeah.
So how do we hold on to that softness, that vulnerability, when it feels like we're constantly being told to like toughen up?
Yeah. It's a powerful reminder, especially in a world that often equates vulnerability with weakness.
Yeah.
Sparacino she's really challenging that notion. Like, she's suggesting that true strength lies in our ability to stay open, to
Well-
feel deeply,
Mhm.
to connect with others on an emotional level.
But it's not always easy, is it?
Yeah.
So how do we protect that softness, that vulnerability, without letting the world harden us?
It takes conscious effort. It really does. It's about prioritizing self-care, surrounding ourselves with supportive people
Yeah.
and setting boundaries with those who drain our energy or try to dim our light.
So it's about protecting our inner light,
Yeah,
that spark that makes us who we are.
exactly. And remembering that softness, it isn't a weakness, it's a superpower. It allows us to experience the world with more empathy, more compassion, more joy.
I love that. You know, as we're talking, I'm starting to see a thread running through all of Sparacino's ideas,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah.
Like it's this belief in the power of choosing love, choosing hope, even when life, throws us those curveballs.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's not about denying the pain or
Right.
pretending that everything's perfect.
Right.
Like, it's about acknowledging the darkness, honoring the scars, and still choosing to believe in the possibility of healing,
Yeah.
growth, and even greater love.
Yeah, it's like she's saying that even in the broken places, in the scars, there's still so much beauty to be found.
You got it. That's it. It's about embracing, like, the wholeness of who we are. The light and the shadow, the joy and the sorrow. And recognizing that it's in that wholeness, in those perfectly imperfect pieces that we find our strength.
That's beautiful. There's this one line that really stood out to me where Sparacino talks about um, paying attention to what stirs our hearts.
Mm,
What do you think she means by that?
mm, that's a good one. I think it's about like tuning into those things that light us up,
Yeah.
that make us feel truly alive. It could be, I don't know, like a creative pursuit
Hmm.
or a meaningful conversation, maybe a moment in nature, anything that just sparks joy, that makes our soul sing. Like, I think she's encouraging us to be present, to savor those moments and to, let them nourish our
So
spirits.
it's about noticing those little sparks of joy and fanning the flame.
Yes. Be intentional about seeking out those things that bring us happiness, that make us feel connected to something larger than ourselves.
I love that.
Mm.
Okay, so let's talk about one of the most important themes in the book, which is love. And Spirituino, she offers this beautiful definition of love. She says, love is your childhood home, your favorite part on the couch, the same chair at the kitchen table. Love is your worn-in sweater, the way it smells after you hang it to dry in the garden. So what do you think she's trying to convey here with this imagery?
I think she's painting this picture of love as something familiar, something comforting, like a source of deep connection and belonging, It's not about the grand gestures or those like fleeting moments of passion, but it's about the everyday rituals, those the shared experiences that create a sense of home.
Yeah, it's about finding that feeling of safety and comfort in another person,
Yeah.
like a soft place to land.
Exactly. It's about feeling seen, understood, accepted for who we are, flaws and all. And it's about creating a space where both people can truly be themselves,
Right.
without judgment or reservation.
I see. Now, Sparacino also doesn't shy away from the fact that love can be, a source of pain, especially when relationships end.
For sure.
She says, and I'm going to read this. She has this really powerful metaphor. But leaving makes a mess of it all. It rearranges things. Suddenly, the couch is different, and your favorite chair is broken. Your worn-in sweater is torn, and the clothing lines in the backyard have been blown down by wind. Suddenly, the stairs are quiet in the night. The hook is on the other side of the room. What's she getting at here with this imagery?
Man, it's such a visceral description of what heartbreak feels like.
It is.
It's like our whole world just gets like turned upside down. The things that once brought us comfort, they now feel empty and unfamiliar.
Mhm.
I think she's capturing that sense of disorientation, that feeling of having to like rebuild our lives from the ground up.
Right. It's like she's saying that after a loss, we have to create a new home within ourselves.
Yeah, I love that. That's a beautiful way to put it. And it's a process, It
Yeah.
takes time, patience, a lot of self-compassion.
It does. But even in the midst of all that pain, like Spirituino still holds on to this belief in the possibility of finding love again.
Right.
She says, one day you will meet someone who will break down your walls and stare into the depths of you. One day they will see the bruises on your soul, will hear about all of the terrible things you have done, and you will expect them to leave, but they won't. They won't. One day you will meet someone who looks into the damage, who sees the wounds, the dark, and they will love you anyways. They will love you.
So how do we hold on to that hope, that belief in love, even when we've been hurt before?
It's tough, isn't it?
It is.
Um, I think it's about choosing hope over fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's about trusting that we're worthy of love,
Yeah.
that we deserve a love that sees us fully and embraces us, scars and all.
Yeah.
And it's about believing that somewhere out there, there's someone who will meet us in that space,
Right.
who will love us not in spite of our scars, but because of them. I think that's what makes Sparacino's words so powerful.
Right.
She acknowledges the pain, the heartbreak, the messiness of life, but she never loses sight of that essential truth
Mm-hmm.
that we are worthy of love,
Yes.
and that love has the power to heal us, to transform us, to make us whole.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Mm.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive into the strength in our stars,
Yeah.
I'm curious, what's the one takeaway you hope our listeners will carry with them?
Oh, that's a good question. I think if there's one thing I hope they remember is that, you are stronger than you think. You really are. You have the power to choose love, to choose healing, to choose hope, even when it feels impossible. Embrace the contrast, honor your scars, and never stop believing in the beauty of your own story.
Beautifully said. And before we go, as promised, here's a 10-point summary of what we've learned from Bianca Sparacino's The Strength in Our Scars. So get your notepads ready. Number one, embrace the contrast. Life's beauty lies in the balance of joy and sorrow, light and dark. Number two, find strength in your scars. Those imperfections, they tell your story, and they're a testament to your resilience. Number three, rebuild consciously. When hurt, acknowledge the pain, examine the pieces of your experience, and choose how you want to rebuild. Number four, seek deep connection. Prioritize intellectual and emotional bonds over superficial attraction. Number five, unloving is a myth. You can't erase someone from your heart, but you can choose to create space for new connections and experiences. Number six, understand the cycle of pain. Those who hurt us most have often been hurt themselves. Cultivate empathy without excusing hurtful actions. Number seven, happiness comes from within. True joy and self-worth stem from self-acceptance, not external validation. Number eight, be soft even when it's hard. Embrace vulnerability and continue to believe in love, both for yourself and for others. Number nine,
You are not alone. There are others out there who feel as deeply as you do. Seek them out, connect, and support each other. And number 10, keep fighting for your light. The world needs your unique spark. Never let hardship extinguish your inner flame. Thanks for joining us for this incredible deep dive into the strength in our scars. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration of ideas that matter.